In the top stories, police investigating death of Brooklyn resident. Brazilian woman protests Bolsonaro's genocidal policies, and Ukraine accuses Russia of bombing children's hospital in Mariupol. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Thursday, the 10th of March, 2022. I'm Jason Davis. Nationally, the police are investigating the circumstances surrounding the death of 19-year-old Nicholas Evans of Bricklin, more colloquially called Brooklyn. Evans was found hanging by the neck from a rope that was tied to a tree in the Bricklin village area on Tuesday. The district medical officer was summoned to the scene and pronounced him dead. An autopsy has been scheduled to determine the exact cause of death. The police are appealing to persons who might have information regarding this incident to contact the Newcastle police station at 469-9326 or the crime hotline 707. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Aviation, the Honorable Mark Brantley, on Wednesday virtually addressed a special meeting of the Permanent Council of the Organization of American States that was convened to discuss the topic incentivizing work effort. The special meeting was proposed by the chair of the Permanent Council, His Excellency Dr. Everson Hull, permanent representative of St. Kitts and Nevis, to shed light on a topic that he deems of supreme importance to the Caribbean if the region is to overcome the declining rates of productivity and stimulate economic growth. The other panelists contributing to the discussion at this meeting were Dr. Larry Quinlan, former Global Chief Information Officer for Deloitte, and Enrique Perez, Senior Client Partner based in Corn Ferry's Mexico City office. It's a consultancy firm which assists multinational companies in implementing performance and reward programs. The discussion was described as well received by member states of the OAS, and Chairman and Permanent Representative Hull was praised for bringing a quote-unquote non-traditional issue to the Permanent Council for discussion. In other news, some assistance for local teachers from telecommunications company The Cable. The Cable has created an internet teacher pack to enable all teachers in St. Kitts to have affordable access to super-fast internet speeds. The internet teacher pack offers speeds of up to 100 megs down and up to 25 megs up for $139 VAT inclusive. According to a release, the package is available not only to the teachers who previously took advantage of the promotional offer in September to December, but to all other teachers who are currently customers of the Cable, as well as those who are not yet customers but would like to subscribe to the package. Chief Commercial Officer at the Cable, Bibiana Hamilton Henry, said the Cable prides itself as a partner in education. Minister of Education, the Honorable John L. Powell, said he welcomes these initiatives by the Cable to assist the nation's teachers and the education sector in general. He said, quote, "We thank the Cable for its continued outreach and partnership with the Ministry of Education. This public demonstration by the company validates its commitment to ensure that no one is left behind in this new wave of virtual education. We encourage all teachers to take up this special offer, which will assist them greatly in the delivery of education within and outside the classroom, and ultimately redound to the benefit of the nation's students." End quote. The Cable's Internet Teacher Pack became available on the 1st of March. We now move to news on the regional scene. Thousands of women took to the streets of cities in Brazil to protest practices the women say were instituted by President Jair Bolsonaro. They also highlighted the increase in femicides. Telesur's Brian Meir reports.
On March 8th, tens of thousands of women took to the streets in dozens of cities across Brazil to commemorate International Women's Day, which was first declared a holiday by the Russian Soviet Republic in 1917 and declared an international holiday by the UN in 1977.
The main reason we are occupying the streets all over Brazil on this March 8th is to denounce the negative effects of agribusiness in our life, and most of all, the damage that President Bolsonaro has caused to Brazil, which directly affects the lives of women.
In Recife, the women from the social movements and labor unions which organized the march highlighted the erosion of rights and increase in femicide caused by the last 3 years of Jair Bolsonaro's disastrous far-right government.
The Pernambuco Education Workers Union is on the street protesting Bolsonarism, this genocidal government that has caused the death of thousands of women. It is an anti-science, anti-education and anti-women government.
On March 8th, the streets of cities across Brazil echoed with shouts of "Out with Bolsonaro." Brian Mir, Telesur, Recife.
In observance of International Women's Day 2022, HGP TV's Joel Vutt shines the spotlight on Elsie Harry, a Guyanese national who grew up in St. Kitts. She has contributed to Guyana's development through youth and community development. Here's more.
Living by her own quote, "Perfection is not the goal, excellence is," 29-year-old Elsie Harry has been making significant contributions to Guyana's development in the area of urban and rural planning. Her passion for youth and community development has been at the forefront of her life. Harry, who is currently a monitoring and evaluation officer at the Central Transport Planning Unit, during a Zoom interview with Nightly News on Tuesday, shared that she considers herself a servant leader to empower individuals to reach their highest potential while living with intention. The 29-year-old, who was born in Berbice, grew up in St. Kitts, but has already amassed several titles to her name, including Cerulean 25 Influential Women Leaders Award in 2021, Commonwealth Youth Worker Finalist Award in 2016, and University of Guyana 2017 valedictorian after reading for a bachelor's degree in international relations. She noted that her accomplishments have given her an improved sense of appreciation for her country.
I think that I've always had a love for learning, and I've always adopted the thought that whatever I do, I need to do it well.
She has also developed a strong interest in politics, which was harnessed through her participation in youth parliament, and has also contributed to several nation-building initiatives in Guyana for the past 7 to 8 years.
If we can set targets that monitor and that evaluate if we are really reaching the goals of making the lives of the people better, then I feel like we'll experience true national development.
And currently the holder of a Master's of Engineering degree in Urban and Rural Planning, an area she believes women have always been overlooked in since it is a male-dominated field. And on International Women's Day 2022, Harry is advising women to identify their purpose and live without being labeled.
Identify what your purpose is and pursue it with intentionalism and pursue it with excellence. Never let anyone put a label on you. Never let anyone put a limit on you and tell you what you can or cannot do.
Internationally, Ukraine has accused Russia of bombing a children's hospital and maternity ward in the besieged port city of Mariupol, wounding 17 people and trapping children and others under the rubble in what it called a war crime without justification. Al Jazeera's Nev Barker reports.
A colossal blast echoes across the besieged city of Mariupol. But this isn't a military target. It's a maternity ward and children's hospital. And these are the victims. A heavily pregnant woman with serious injuries is stretched through a shattered building. The elderly and the young, bloodied and scared. This is the indifference of war. An explosion so powerful, the crater is several meters deep. Today, Russian invaders committed a grave crime, said this official. Women and children were wounded. It's a war crime without any justification, he said. After days without supplies, heating or electricity, Ukrainians were already calling Mariupol the nearest thing to hell on earth. Now look at it. They are the defining images of Vladimir Putin's war. And there's a new urgency to the Ukrainian leadership's desperate plea for more help. Neve Barker, Al Jazeera.
A majority of the U.S. House of Representatives voted to approve a $1.5 trillion bill that would provide $13.6 billion in aid for Ukraine. More in this Reuters report.
The U.S. House voted to approve a massive spending package Wednesday that includes $13.6 billion in emergency aid for Ukraine.
The first portion of the divided question is adopted.
That's on top of $1.5 trillion in funding to avoid an imminent government shutdown and keep things running through September 30th. Aid for Ukraine has been one of the few issues receiving bipartisan support in Congress. The latest package will be split across military and humanitarian funding for its citizens, more than 2 million of whom have already fled the country. Meanwhile, House Democrats were forced to remove a roughly $15 billion COVID-19 aid initiative after some in the party objected to the way in which aid would have been distributed to individual states. The House also near unanimously passed legislation to ban U.S. imports of Russian oil in response to the Ukraine invasion. That bill registers congressional support for the oil ban just a day after U.S. President Joe Biden used his executive powers to impose it. It also calls for reviewing Russia's participation in some international trade programs like the World Trade Organization. But lawmakers abandoned an effort to add language revoking Russia's permanent normal trade relations status. That would have let the U.S. ratchet up tariffs on Russian imports above the lower levels enjoyed by members of the WTO. The Senate is expected to vote on the Ukraine aid and federal funding package later this week.
And now for the weather. Current conditions are partly cloudy with passing showers. The temperature for today is 28 degrees Celsius or 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds are a moderate breeze of 15 miles per hour from an easterly direction. Seas are moderate with waves of 5 to 8 feet. A small craft advisory is in effect. The weather forecast in St. Kitts and Nevis for today and tonight will be partly cloudy and breezy with a 20% or slight chance of few passing showers. Sunset today will be at 6:20 p.m. and sunrise tomorrow at 6:22 a.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Jason Davis.